spent a long, sultry afternoon teasing a few good quotations out of my sculptor. Then, just as the streetlights across Bangkok were flickering on, a motorcycle taxi deposited me in front of the 7-Eleven opposite the market, where Josh was already waiting for me, a goofy smile on his chubby face. Plastic tables packed the narrow sidewalk. The sting of frying chili peppers made my eyes water, and from the market, now closing for the day, the sweet smells of jasmine, lilies, incense, and lemongrass mingled with the smells of rotting fish, molding durian, sweat, car exhaust, and garbage. On the corner, two competing noodlemen served up bowls of goi tio in a ginger and coriander sauce. A little farther down the road, the curry lady had set up shop with huge vats of green curry and red, a jungle curry, a Penang curry, and a spicy fish soup. A pretty girl cut up fresh mangoes and served them over sticky rice in a coconut sauce. There was somebody who grilled skewers of chicken over a small open flame, and which he served with a peanut sauce. But we were there for the fish family. All of the other vendors were ordinary, Josh said. Nothing special, run-of-the-mill, the kind of stuff you'd find outside the market of any two-bit town from Isan to the Malay border. But the fish lady and family, boy howdy, they were something else. "The Prime Minister's nephew told me about this place," Josh said, gesturing at the fish stall. Rows of silvery fish sprawled on a bed of ice, black-eyed, rainbow-gilled, and healthy-looking, as if they had just swum up minutes ago and were only resting, and below them massed ranks of clams, mussels, oysters, and ominous black anemones. "It's better than the Oriental Hotel." We sat down, and Josh ordered for us. Twice our waiter walked away from the table, and twice Josh called him back to order still more food. Josh was at ease in his domain, leaning back in his chair like a pasha. It was August, the trailing end of the rainy season, when everything oozes. Josh pulled a piece of toilet paper from the roll on the table and gently blotted his face and hands, then opened his satchel and pulled out a half-empty bottle of Johnny Walker Black. Josh was a natural raconteur, but he wasn't much for the old give-and-take of normal conversation. He asked after my day and listened to my reply with a distracted air, nodding occasionally until he could be patient no longer. "Oh, that's just great," he interrupted. He took another slurp from his drink. "You know, I'm glad you're in town. I need someone who really knows the upcountry." This was Josh's subtle way of forming a segue from conversation to monologue. In all his years in Thailand, Josh had come to know the North far better than I did. There was hardly a corner of the kingdom that Josh didn't know, where he wouldn't be greeted by the abbot of the Buddhist temple or by the madam of the best bordello with a huge smile. I waited to hear what Josh had to say. He paused for a second, as if gathering his strength. He leaned his heavy forearms on the plastic table. He pouted his heavy lips and flared his nostrils. He strained his round neck from side to side. Then he launched his story. There's no other way to describe it. A Josh O'Connor story is like a giant cruise ship leaving port. And when you make a dinner date with Josh O'Connor, you know in advance that you are going to set sail. It's part of the deal. It's a design feature, not a bug. "Do you remember Wim de Klerk?" Josh began. He didn't wait for me to reply. In any case, I did remember Wim. He was a functionary at the Dutch embassy and a drinking buddy of Josh's. The last time I was in Bangkok, I took Josh and Wim home from Royal City Avenue in a taxi, both of them singing Steely Dan songs at the top of their lungs. They were celebrating a stock tip that Josh had passed on to Wim from the Prime Minister's nephew. Apparently, Wim had made a killing. "Well, about a year ago, I got a call from Wim. Some lady in Holland had called him, asking if he knew anybody who would go and visit her niece up at Chiang Mai Central Prison. Well, this woman, the niece, not the lady in Holland. The niece is named Martiya. Her aunt is Elena. Both of them are von der Leun. Are you following all this? Her uncle had just died, and the niece Martiya has inherited some money. Wim tells me the aunt wants somebody to go up there and take care of the details. You know, look this Martiya in the eye, explain what happened, make sure she understands everything. The aunt is about 1,000,000,000 years old, doesn't want to travel. The niece won't reply to her letters, so she wants some...